spicy. Jimmy Garoppolo on there could be a benefit, but have they kind of burned that bridge?
I will say this. Gardner Minshew is the best backup in the NFL.
I love Gardner. Welcome to 30 Minutes of Football with Legit Football. I am your host, Brian McFadden. It's Thursday, which means it's time to take your viewer questions live. Mostly fantasy, some NFL thrown in. Feel free to throw us some curveballs, but we know that we'll have start-sit questions. We know that we'll have trade advice questions. And, of course, I've got the Pro Football Demon with me. Hurricane be damned, he is here to do the show. Rich, how you doing today, dude?
Doing all right. The hurricane, well, where we are, the hurricane wasn't so bad. I know some people on the coast had it a little rough, but we've been doing okay. My throat, as you said before, is betraying me a little bit. So if you hear me doing a lot of throat clearing, I'll try not to do it in the mic. I'll do it this way.
I will try to carry the burden as much as I can with the talking because I want to spare your voice. We want to get as much of the Pro Football Demon as we can. As always, we've got Anthony Wayner, our producer behind the scenes. He's going to be in the chat, starring the different comments to make sure that we get to the questions. I can already see we got a bunch of questions that were queued up before. Jade Dragon, as usual, he did his share and threw a bunch in there. Very, very smart. So let's go ahead and get it ready. Anthony, if you want to put the timer up. By the way, Anthony was late. I'm going to call him out. He was a few minutes late, which is why we're late. All right, look, he didn't even give us a warning. 30 minutes of football with Legit Football starts now. So let's jump right into the first question. As I mentioned, it is Mr. Jade Dragon 91 who asks, Ertz against Rams or Goddard against the Commanders? We got a tight end question to kick us off on a Thursday night.
I think I'm going with Goddard against the Commanders. Was it last week? He had a pretty good week. I don't remember if it was last week or the week before. But yeah, I think I trust the Phillies offense more than I trust Arizona's, and I trust Goddard more than I trust Ertz.
Yeah, they're both actually fairly high volume plays in that they get targeted a fair amount. Goddard has the higher ceiling. Ertz, we haven't seen a lot of touchdown upside. He does get peppered with targets, but it's really DeAndre Hopkins who has the touchdown upside in Arizona. I expect the Rams to win that game. I think they're going to be bouncing back after that horrible performance to end the game against the Bucs. Whereas Philly, I see them producing. Goddard just has more of a chance to get in the end zone, and that's what you want to get with a tight end position that's so common. By the way, I don't know if we want to do... Jade Dragon has like 5 questions in a row. You know what? We're going to reward you, Jade. We're going to answer all of them. We're not going to skip around. You guys want to get in questions before Jade or in between his questions, then you queue it up the questions before we go live. I typically put the live upcoming stream up the day before. So you can start putting questions in first thing Thursday morning if you really want to take this seriously. So our next question, we got a quarterback question. Ooh, this is spicy. Kirk Cousins going up against the Bills or Geno Smith in Germany against the Bucs?
I think give me Geno Smith against the Bucs. Man, I don't know. The Bills defense, their secondary is kind of banged up. You know what? I'm going to go back on that. I'm going to go Kirk Cousins because of the Justin Jefferson factor and the new tight end whose name I won't say because I know it hurts his heart.
Yeah. So I like Cousins too for a few reasons. One, on the Seattle side, the way you attack that Bucs defense is on the ground. Crazy to say that because they've always historically been, at least for the past 3 or 4 years, been such a good run defense. And the Seahawks want to start on the ground. They want to be a run-first offense behind Kenneth Walker. That's a Pete Carroll dream to have a running back like him that they can rely on. I think they'll control the clock. It'll be that kind of game. Whereas Kirk Cousins, and I don't really care who's playing quarterback, I think the Vikings are going to be playing from behind. Remember, they've still got a lot of weapons on the Bills. They've still got one of the best defenses in the NFL. The Vikings are going to need to pass, which means volume. I don't think there's anybody who can cover Justin Jefferson in that banged-up Bills secondary. So, yes, I am also going to go to Cousins. J Dragon 91, question number 3. Pick 2 at flex. Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Jeff Wilson Jr.
Wow. I think I'm going to go DJ Moore and Brandon Ayuk, because I don't know what the Jeff Wilson experience is going to continue to look like. I think I need to see a little more Jeff Wilson before I fully trust him. Not that I trust Brandon Ayuk or DJ Moore, but that's probably what I would do. I think the receivers probably have more of a chance to be on the field more.
I'm gonna alter it slightly. DJ Moore, I do agree with. Atlanta has a very exploitable secondary. We just saw him go off against the Falcons 2 weeks ago, but I'm gonna go Jeff Wilson Jr. He got in the end zone last week in his debut. He fits right into, is very comfortable in this Mike McDaniel offense, having just come from essentially the same offense in San Francisco. And I think he's had enough time now to be the lead back. I do think he ends up getting more snaps and more touches than Raheem Mostert. They're going up against the Cleveland Browns, who are very susceptible to the run. And on the other side, San Francisco, I think they're really going to attack the Chargers on the ground. That's where the LA is most vulnerable. So Ayuk is more of a ceiling play, and I think only if he gets in the end zone, whereas I think Wilson will get a lot more touches and could also end up in the end zone in that high-powered Dolphins offense. So I say DJ Moore and Jeff Wilson Jr. Deebo Samuel or DJ Moore?
Wow. Man. Probably because Christian McCaffrey is there and Deebo's not being used in that way anymore, I would probably say DJ Moore.
Yeah, I think because of the matchups. Overall, I still like Deebo better, but they've got Christian McCaffrey. They've got more weapons to spread the ball around. I think it's going to be harder to predict outside of CMC who produces in that Niners offense, whereas DJ Moore, even with the Terrace Marshall Jr. coming up a little bit, I think he is far and away the number one wide receiver in Carolina. This is a team that is going to be playing behind, I think, with Atlanta, and Atlanta is very susceptible in the secondary with A.J. Terrell out. So I'm going to also agree with DJ Moore. Mr. Squishy 79, rate this trade: Pat Freiermuth and Amari Cooper for TJ Hawkinson and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
This is crazy. I think I like the Hawkinson and Amon-Ra St. Brown side because we saw Hawkinson already being involved heavily in that Vikings offense. And Amon-Ra in a high volume offense, when he plays, he's money in the bank. I know Amari Cooper is
wide receiver 12 right now.
Yeah, I know. But it's the Freiermuth and Hawkinson thing, I think, that's tipping the scales for me.
So, we only have 1 week of data for Hawkinson in Minnesota. He did get a lot of volume. Freiermuth has consistently got volume in that Steelers offense, regardless of who's playing quarterback, even with Kenny Pickett taking over. Cooper has been very consistent, surprisingly consistent with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Interesting to see how he does. Theoretically, he should do even better when Watson comes back, but we don't know. So yeah, it's not a slam dunk either way, but I think I'll agree with you, Rich. I'm going to slightly lean towards Hawkinson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Also, I think St. Brown is going to get back to his scoring ways. We got to remember that he was injured. There was bye weeks.
Yeah.
He has not been able to produce as a result. But without Hawkinson, there's more targets to go to him in Detroit. So, and sorry, Anthony, Lions are going to be playing from behind a lot, and it's not going to change this week in Chicago. All right, Mr. Squishy 79, I think we're still in the early questions, by the way. I think we're still in the pre-live questions, which is great. I think this is the most we've ever had to start the show before we actually go live. Mr. Squishy, again, start at wide receiver 2. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rondale Moore, Michael Pittman, or Darnell Mooney. And then, secondary question. This is the smart guys. He gets in 2 questions with 1 comment. Start at tight end, TJ Hawkinson or Greg Dulcich. So we'll start with the wide receiver question.
Wide receiver, I'm going to go Amon-Ra. If you don't trust Amon-Ra, my second pick there would be Darnell Mooney because of the matchup. In terms of tight end, I'm going to roll the dice with Hawkinson. I'm still not sold on that Denver Broncos offense. I know Dulcich has been getting peppered with targets, but I think I trust Hawkinson more there.
So I agree with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Rondale Moore shouldn't even be in the conversation, nor should Pittman.
Yeah.
The Colts are a mess in so many ways with a rookie quarterback, with a head coach. I don't know how much we want to dive into that today, but Jeff Saturday set to make his head coaching debut outside of 2 seasons of high school football, fresh off, straight out of the ESPN analyst booth. And so that should be fun to watch. But yeah, I'm not starting anybody on that Colts team short of maybe a healthy Jonathan Taylor, just because he's Jonathan Taylor. Mooney has definitely come on, but Amon-Ra St. Brown is the more solid play. At tight end, I'm going to disagree. I am going to go with Greg Dulcich. He's the only piece you can rely on in that Broncos offense. Ever since he actually got into the starting lineup, he has been peppered with targets. He has gotten yardage, and he even got in the end zone in his first game. So he's kind of done it all, and he's been consistent. That's the one thing Sutton has been up and down. We've had Judy have some Javonte Williams early in the season. Dulcich has been solid every single game he's played. We only have one set of data with Hawkinson, so I just like this kind of the certainty of putting Dulcich there. He says pick a remainder at flex. So based on the people we did not choose, Rich, who would you put in that flex spot? Yeah, I agree. Darnell Mooney. Let's keep it moving. Brandon Nelson, which defense with a C? Do we have I'm guessing that's somebody from Europe. Brandon, let us know where you're from. I love the defense with a C. I'm guessing the UK. Which should I start, the Cowboys or the Patriots? Love that we have a defense question early.
Cowboys are playing the Packers, and who are the Patriots playing?
I got the schedule up. If you look ahead at the camera, Rich, I've got the schedule.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Yeah,
it's bigger on my screen.
I'm a professional. Oh, sorry that it's not up to your size requirements. All right, so we've got Dallas is playing the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau, and the Patriots
are on bye, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. New England. Yeah. Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
New England's not Dallas. Playing, Brandon. Here's our expert analysis. Start Dallas instead of the Patriots. So let's keep it going. Mr. Squishy79 with another question here. Here's a defensive question of two teams that actually are playing. Eagles, who are playing the Commanders on Monday night, or Cowboys, who we mentioned are playing the Packers.
I'm going with the Cowboys because the Packers look like a disaster. Now, not only is Aaron Rodgers throwing his receivers under the bus, they're clapping back a little bit, apparently. Apparently, they're not too happy with what he's been saying. So there is just dissension in the ranks in Green Bay. So I don't trust Green Bay to do anything against a capable team like Dallas.
Your offensive line in Green Bay hasn't really been able to protect him. Your wide receivers have been iffy, and that was before they lost. They lost Cobb earlier in the season. They just lost Romeo Doubs for 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. And Aaron Jones, who is set to play, is probably not going to be at 100%. So, and A.J. Dillon just has not been good this year. Nothing, and Rodgers has been bad. There's nothing to like about this Packers offense against a Cowboys defense that has been one of the best in the NFL, especially on the pass rush. So I could see them really harassing Rodgers. Rodgers is the type, by the way, guys, he will hold the ball and try to make a play, and he will hold the ball to avoid making mistakes. He's typically not interception prone, which is why it was crazy that he threw 2 in the end zone last week against the Lions. But that means there's more opportunities for sacks. So I really like the Cowboys defense as a play against the Packers this week. And even though I like the Eagles defense, I just there's something to like about this Heineke Commanders offense. They're going to put up some points. It's a division matchup. If the game was in Washington, it might be a fun little spicy upset watch. I am picking the Eagles to win, but I did pick the Commanders to cover. So I would rather play the Cowboys D.
Well, here's the thing with the Commanders too. Their offense seems to, the arrow's pointing up. I mean, maybe not, ridiculously up, but they're pointing up and Green Bay's pointing down. So
yeah, that tells you everything you need to know. Hunter Steigen, should I start Thielen over any of these guys? Waddle? No. Juju? Gabe Davis? Patterson? Why is Waddle even on there?
Yeah, get Waddle out of there. I would consider starting him over Gabe Davis, especially with the Josh Allen information or situation that's going on. I don't know that I would start him over anybody else, though.
Yeah, I'm with you there. If Josh Allen starts, Thielen and Gabe Davis are kind of a wash for me. They're both kind of they're not getting a lot of targets. They're red zone guys, so they definitely have the touchdown upside. But if it's Case Keenum at quarterback, then that drops Gabe Davis's value, and I would start Thielen then. So I would pay attention. Josh Allen has not practiced. I wanted to say Josh Thielen. I'm like, that's not a guy. That's not a guy. Josh Allen has not practiced this week yet. They've said he's day-to-day, which is encouraging, and they said they're going to make a determination tomorrow on whether he's going to play. I'm starting to believe that he might miss this game, and then we'll be back next week. So if that's the case, I would start Thielen over Gabe Davis. Kyle Gorell, should I start Etienne and Wilson Jr. over Pierce and Fournette?
Why are we not starting Etienne and Pierce.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Yes, just that. No,
Yeah.
Etienne and Pierce. Let's keep it rolling. We want to make sure we get to all the questions. Anthony Sanar, McLaurin or Pittman?
McLaurin.
McLaurin.
Hey, he's
Agreed.
got a better connection with Heineke and Pittman. We don't know what we're going to see.
We really don't. This is by the way, on the Raiders side, as bad as big of a mess as Las Vegas is right now, there's not a better matchup than for them to face the Colts and whatever they're going to roll out there with a guy who's going to be calling plays for the first time, like a 30-year-old assistant, and a first-time head coach and a rookie quarterback and an offensive line that's actually been one of the worst in the NFL. We just don't know what to expect out of Pittman. McLaurin and Heineke, they got a little something going on, so that's an easy one there. Joe M., what do y'all think? London or Dulcich for flex? It's crazy, wide receiver or tight end, but this is actually a legitimate question here.
It is, and I would probably go Dulcich. I can't say his name cleanly, so I'm going to always butcher that.
Just imagine it's an S, Dulcich, you know.
I know London saw 7 targets last week. I mean, Pitts is seeing targets too, but they're just, the balls aren't catchable. They're not bringing them in. So that passing game is suspect. Dulcich has Russell Wilson targeting him. Russell Wilson, we think, is a capable quarterback. And like you said before, he's been pretty consistent. So I would go Dulcich.
Yeah, I have to agree. And it's not a talent thing. I think London is very talented. We saw that to start the season. I think that besides the fact the Falcons want to run the ball, Mariota has proven that he's a liability with his pass catchers. Man, there were multiple opportunities where if he just hits Kyle Pitts, we're talking about a monster game. I think it would have been like a 70-yard touchdown, and he overthrew him by like 5 yards last week. London is kind of the same thing. Besides the fact that he's not getting as many targets because they're so run-heavy, when they do, Mariota, not that consistent, much better as a running quarterback. So I like the floor of Dulcich there. Crazy to say.
Clarify one thing here from a previous question. When Brian said, why is Waddle there? Brian was referring to Waddle being too good to even be in that conversation.
Yes. Did that need clearing up?
I guess so, because somebody said, what's wrong with Waddle? Spaghetti Bread. That's an awesome name, by the way.
Yeah, no, nothing's wrong with Waddle. He shouldn't be. Like, why are you considering anybody over him? It's Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to Jordan Conlon. I feel like we got a lot of new names in the chat tonight, which is awesome. Jordan Conlon, Najee Harris, or Tyler Algier?
Well, this is actually a good question. I think, Algier put up a pretty good game yardage.
99 yards.
Yeah.
99 yards last week.
Didn't get in the end zone because Cordero Patterson is there. I might go with Algier here, considering the matchup.
How I like Algier. He's been my guy since the offseason. And I love that he produced even with Cordero Patterson back in the lineup last week. Yeah. And here's the thing. I don't think Mike Tomlin doesn't say stuff to say stuff. He tends to mean what he says. He doesn't like playing games. That's just not really his way. It's not the Steelers' way. So when he says that Jaylen Warren is looking like a guy who should get more touches and more opportunities, guess what? We should believe him. He has been more efficient as a runner, more efficient as a pass catcher. He's showing to get his pass blocking on, which makes them more confident to leave him out on multiple downs. I think we're going to start to see and it could be a injury thing. I'm not saying Najee Harris is not as talented or any of that. He's incredibly talented. He's a first-round running back, but I just think there's been multiple injuries with Harris. He's lost a little bit of a step because of it, whereas Jaylen Warren is showing to be better, at least this season. That leaves question marks. So Panthers just got destroyed by Joe Mixon in the run game. I have some leagues where I'm starting Patterson and Algier because it's a deep league. So I'm not afraid of Algier. I like the matchup for Carolina. I would go Algier here. All right, Miguel Carbajal, Dante. I think that's the correct Spanish pronunciation, right? Carbajal. If I'm wrong, Miguel, I really apologize. I at least attempted. Dante Foreman or DJ Moore for today. Interesting. So a flex question. Both Panthers going up against the Falcons for Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I might go DJ Moore. Man, I don't know, because we saw Dante Foreman look great and then look not so great. I think DJ Moore is
nobody looked good last week, including DJ Moore. The Panthers
true.
As an organization didn't look good last week.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna say Dante Foreman because he's the running back. He's gonna see the ball more. So yeah, I'm gonna go Dante Foreman.
That was going to be my answer as well. I was ready to disagree with you, and then you read my mind and switched over. When they both could have good. I mean, the Falcons' defense is not great to begin with. It's not good in the secondary. It hasn't been good against the run. I think both sides are primed for good games on the ground this week, but DJ Moore could exploit that as well. But when things are that equal, I tend to get who's going to get more touches. Therefore, who's going to get more opportunities? And then I just play the odds. Foreman is going to touch the ball more than DJ Moore, so I'm going to go with Dante Foreman, so I'm going to agree with you there, Rich. Christopher Littlefield, at my flex, should I play Jonathan Taylor or Cordero Patterson?
You're playing Cordero Patterson. Again, the Colts, the new coach, Jeff Saturday, we don't know what he's going to do. It's not like Jonathan Taylor has been playing anything close to lights out lately, and that's such a great matchup for Patterson, so...
Yeah, I have to agree. That's insane to say, but I have to agree for all of those reasons. Now, Jonathan Taylor was a full participant in practice today, so he looks to be fully healthy. But yeah, I don't like this at all. I just don't know what to expect. I don't know how is this coaching staff going to react to the way this was done with Frank Reich getting fired, Jeff Saturday, a former player who's never even coached a head coach in college, never been a coordinator, got a little bit of high school football experience. Was an ESPN analyst trashing the Raiders on Twitter a week ago. Now and this isn't the offseason where you get to train and acclimate. He got put in this situation. It's a disaster. Even if he's a good guy, even if he has the talent to be a good coach, this is just, I don't like any bit of it. So I don't want to touch any Colts this week until I see what's actually going to go on. So I'm going to go Cordero Patterson. Add on to that, as Rich said, that the matchup is really juicy against the Panthers team that just let up 5 touchdowns to Joe Mixon. Give me the whole Falcons running back room right now.
Defenses don't have to respect the passing game in Indianapolis either. They can dare them to pass and see if you can beat us that way.
Yeah, agreed. I think they're going to be playing up against the line. I think they're going to be the one thing the Raiders do well on defense is rush the passer with Max Crosby there. So I think Sam Ehlinger is not going to have a fun day against the Raiders. Play Patterson. Alex S. Lazard, Deontay Rondale, or Devontae Smith this week in PPR.
I would probably go Devontae Smith. Definitely not Rondale Moore, Alan Lazard. I mean, we talked about that Green Bay situation, and Deontay Johnson is a high volume receiver, but he'll catch 10 passes for 7 yards. So
and he was higher volume with Mitch Trubisky than he has been with Kenny Pickett. Now, Chase Claypool's gone, so I think both receivers are due for more targets there. I like Pittsburgh this week, by the way. If you guys. You have the game picks episode tomorrow, but I'll go ahead and let you know. And if you follow me on Twitter, you already know that I'm picking the Steelers to upset the Saints. I just feel like a week off. Claypool, get rid of some of that kind of. He's had some bad energy with the Steelers in the past, especially last season. And then the Saints just look dreadful on Monday night. I like this at home for Pittsburgh to come out after the bye and a Mike Tomlin team to win the game. So I do like Deontay in general. But Devontae Smith, any given, we've seen his ceiling. He may not have produced as much lately, but he has the ability to go for 140 yards and a touchdown or two against the Commanders on Monday night. So I like Devontae Smith there. Mad Dog, DAWG 2288, Olave or Debo?
Chris Olave. There aren't too many
Olave.
receivers other than the obvious ones that I'm going to put above Chris Olave. But absolutely Olave.
Yeah, maybe prior to the Christian McCaffrey trade, I would have had more credence and I would take a little more time with this. But no, I think Debo, it's going to be harder to predict which pass catcher in the Niners produces on any given week, whereas Chris Olave he's basically the entire offense outside of Kamara. And like I said, I actually think the Steelers are going to be leading this game, and therefore, Saints are going to have to pass to keep up. So I like Olave there. Joe M, Dulcich or London? We've already got to the repeat questions. I love when you guys get consistent like that.
Yeah, we picked Dulcich there.
Brian Furman, Waddle, Olave, Debo, Lazard, Judy. Which 2?
Waddle and Olave. Easy.
I had to clear my throat and muted, so I started the answer. All right, so Waddle, Olave, Debo, Lazard, Judy. Yes, agreed. Judy, we've already said outside of Dulcich, don't want any piece of that. Lazard, that Cowboys defense is going to eat up that Packers offense. If anything, the best way to attack the Cowboys is on the ground. Debo, we just talked about, so Waddle and Olave, easy there. Keep it going. Already answered that one. Repeat question. Nathan Plaisance, Herbert or Drake London at flex? So that is Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert now. I think I'm starting Khalil. Yeah, Khalil Herbert's playing the Lions. I might roll the dice with Khalil Herbert. He's been one of those guys who I know he didn't put up points last week, but typically when he does that, the following week he surprises you a little bit. And against that Lions defense, I'm playing Bears if I can, especially with the way the Bears offense has looked.
Yeah, both of these plays are essentially they could get you like 1 or 2 points,
Yeah.
or they could get you like 15. Herbert has actually shown to do that more often this season than London. Not a knock on London himself. We already talked about that Falcons offense and Mariota at QB. So I'm going to agree. I would go Khalil Herbert. I don't like either play, to be honest, because I think the Bears are really going to exploit that secondary for Detroit. So I see another Justin Fields day. And Justin Fields has been the running game the past few weeks,
Yeah.
which has actually taken away opportunities from Montgomery and Herbert. But Drake London is you just can't count on him at this point. So I'm going to also go Herbert. Connor Clark, Chris Godwin, or Lenny Fournette at flex. A couple of bucks to choose from.
You have to go with Godwin because of the news that I saw in the Legit Football newsletter, actually, that Rashad White is going to be getting more touches. And with the way Fournette has looked, I could see Tom Brady leaning on Rashad White in the passing game the way he used to lean on James White, because Rashad White's a fantastic pass catcher. And if he looks good, there's no reason to give Leonard Fournette significant touches unless it's to give Rashad White a breather. So I would go with Chris Godwin here.
Yeah, I don't love Godwin as a play, but Fournette has been one of the least efficient running backs in the entire NFL this season. And as we reported, as Rich just said, Rashad White is due to get more touches. I don't like any of the Bucs. Mike Evans maybe, but there's just, even in that victory, there just wasn't a lot to like about it. But between these two, Godwin is a clear choice. All right, Mad Dog asked his question like 3 times, so we will skip that. Let's go. Connor Clark with another question. Trade Tyler Boyd or Cortland Sutton plus Lenny for Lockett and Foreman.
Trade Boyd, Sutton, and Lenny for Lockett and Foreman. So you're getting
Boyd
rid of
or Sutton. So one of the two, plus it's a 2 for 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trading Sutton and Lenny.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of
100%.
that dead weight. Yeah.
If you can get, like, that's why I was like, this is a slam dunk offer. If you actually have this offer, Connor, do it. Lockett has actually been very good. I didn't check his stats, but prior to last week, he was, I think, wide receiver 13 or 14. He's always been one of those guys that people just don't like. Oh, it's Tyler Lockett. He's not exciting, but he's usually wide receiver 20 or better. Yeah. He's just that consistent. Dante Foreman, we've talked about. He's the lead back in Carolina. Chuba Hubbard is active for tonight. But even with Hubbard active, Foreman has produced. We take last week out of it. That was an anomaly. The Bengals just absolutely curb stomped them. And we just talked about Lenny Fournette, so I don't view him as an asset at all. Tyler Boyd.
Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were closing it out.
I was just going to say Tyler Boyd without Chase, Jamar Chase, his arrow is up, whereas Cortland Sutton, Broncos offense, we've talked about it ad nauseum. Go ahead, Rich.
Yes, and Sutton, he apparently you just touch him as he comes off the line. You're just throwing him off his route, and he's completely lost. That's what we've seen from Cortland Sutton this year.
Takedo Luna, as always, I don't know what this means.
He means staff. Is he talking about Stanford?
No, is Stanford playing right now? I don't know.
I don't know. He's probably talking about Stafford, but he usually calls him Crapford.
Yeah, that's why at first I thought it was Stafford, but I'm like, no, wait a second. He usually calls him Crapford. So maybe it's Stanford, like University in Palo Alto. All I do, guys, you want to peek behind the scenes. Anthony stars the questions. I just see the questions that are starred, which is why, once again, if you have a question in the chat and it doesn't get answered, it's Anthony Wayner's fault. Blame him. All I see is Stanford will blow. I just have to read the question that's starred. Takedo, let us know what you mean. Are you watching the Stanford Cardinal play a college football game on Thursday night? I don't follow colleges as much as I used to. Or are we talking about Stafford, who is in concussion protocol, still not practicing, might be due to miss this week? All right, let's keep it going. Kyle Garrell, do you think Josh Allen will play or be out for a while?
I think you said earlier, you would know better than I do, that he might miss a week. I think if he has any say in the matter, I think he's going to play, whether he can move his arm or not, whether he can move that elbow or not. I think based on what you said, I would go with that. If maybe a week at most.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Think of it because what Josh Allen wants doesn't necessarily play into it. think about the Bills. This game against the Vikings, it might be exciting for us as football fans because you've got 6-1 Vikings or 7-1 Vikings taking on 6-2 Bills, two of the best teams as far as records go in the NFL. But it doesn't really matter for the division. It doesn't matter for the conference. It's an interconference game. In the scheme of things, this game doesn't have a huge impact compared to some of their future opponents. If you're the Bills, do you risk putting Josh Allen out there for a game that's not as meaningful as some of the others you have left on your docket for the rest of the season? No. You rest him a week, even if they say he's day-to-day, which is a good sign. The sprain that he had could have went a number of directions, one of which is surgery out for the season. It turned out to just be more of a minor sprain. We saw him throw a 70-yard bomb after he hurt his elbow. Yeah. If I'm the Bills, I'm resting him. I'm giving him this week. You've got at least a capable backup in Case Keenum, a guy who has led his team, to the verge of the Super Bowl previously with the Vikings. I would roll him out this week, even though you're playing a good team, and rest him. I don't think he'll be out beyond that. So I would definitely. I think the Bills have the Jets again soon. The Patriots play the Jets next week. So I don't have the Bills schedule in front of me, but we know they have some tough conference games coming up. I would rather rest him, so I expect him to just miss this week. Probably
Buffalo has the Lions next week.
Okay, so they might rest him 2 weeks.
Is it the Lions? Oh no, I'm sorry. That's 2 weeks. Buffalo has the Browns.
The Browns, okay. That's a conference game. It's a little bit more weight on it.
Yeah.
I would, if I had to guess right now, the fact that they're calling it day-to-day and not week-to-week, the fact that you have a conference game next week, I think Allen will miss this week against the Vikings. We will see Case Keenum, and I would say that he plays next week against the Browns.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob Rosher. Looks like I just realized we got about less than 10 seconds to halftime, so we won't get into this question just yet. Keep the questions coming, guys. I see a bunch still starred. I also see a lot live, so I'm assuming that Anthony is picking and choosing and not just getting behind. Anthony, you will get shamed by the viewers if you don't get to their questions. We'll make halftime nice and quick here. Guys, make sure you check out Legit Football. What we do, in case you're here for the first time, is we have a free daily NFL newsletter. You've heard Rich mention it multiple times. He reads it every day. It's sent to your inbox. We take the top 6 stories. We pick the top 6 stories of the day. We break them down so that you only get the info that you need. We give you an injury roundup after that, especially for fantasy. You can keep up on all who's practicing, who's not practicing, and we deliver it to you every morning 100% for free. Just go to legitfootball.com. Sign up for your email address. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like it. And by the way, follow me on TikTok. I'm up to like 350 followers. As soon as I get to 1,000, I can do lives with this guy, the Pro Football Demon. And we can do lives together. Then we can go over to YouTube. So make sure it's right there on the tag beneath me. Just look up Legit Football on TikTok or at legit_football_NFL. Rich, tell us where we can find you.
Pro Football Demon. Follow me on. I'm trying to grow my Instagram and Twitter. So if you would be so kind as to follow me there, those are the only 2 platforms where I'm at kind of a standstill for some reason. They don't push my stuff out, but follow me everywhere you can.
Twitter might be dying. Elon, I don't know. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'm actually posting more on TikTok these days than I am Twitter, where it was much reversed for most of this year. But he puts out great stuff on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter.
I don't understand it.
It's so good. The live tweeting, the memes. It's fantastic. I love the Robert Saleh, and I posted Mike McDaniel. What a comparison! But both of our franchises are winning. It's a good time to be an AFC East fan. Yeah. All right, I'm ready to jump back in. Anthony, why don't you pull the timer back up? Guys, go ahead and keep getting your questions out. Feel free to shout Anthony out in the chat if you want him to pay attention and get your question answered. All right, let's jump right back in. We had a question from Jacob Rosher. Do you think Tua will be a good start this week? I mentioned earlier that the Dolphins are playing the Browns.
There are strangely not many quarterbacks I would start over Tua this year. I think he is a great start every week.
Yeah, same. I mean, feel free to, if do you have another quarterback to compare? Because I'm with Rich. There's not many QBs I would start over him, especially if you have, let's say, Josh Allen, and Allen is looking like he's not going to play. Tua is probably a must start in almost every week, unless you have a Justin Fields who's really coming on, unless you have a Jalen Hurts who is just so consistent, a Patrick Mahomes, or a Josh Allen when he's healthy. Outside of those guys, like even Justin Herbert isn't really putting up huge numbers like Tua is for fantasy especially. So I love to say this as a Dolphins fan, start Tua this week against the Browns.
Anthony just had a comment in the private chat that he's starring everything. What are you talking about?
All right. Thank you, Rich, for pointing that out. Anthony, our producer, does a fantastic job behind the scenes. I just like to bust his balls a little bit. Real quick, during halftime, I saw there was a comment by Takeda that was up for like 2 seconds about Stanford. Anthony, if you can find that and put that back up. In the meantime, I will jump into the next question. Finn Strom. Oh, there we go. No.
Oh, sorry. That was me.
Who's clicking buttons here? That's
That was
Rich's
me, I'm
fault.
sorry.
All right, I'm not going to throw Anthony under the bus for that one. Stanford plays Utah. This is Takeda. I'm taking Utah with the points. Oh, Crapford is hurt again. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
And we have a Ram head there to
Crapford is in the concussion protocol, and he was not in concussion protocol at the end of the game. He was put in on Tuesday, which is important because there's a minimum number of days and a minimum number of steps you have to go through. It's highly unlikely at this point, unless he passes everything perfectly, that he is going to play on Sunday. He has not practiced yet, so we could be seeing John Wolford. And good luck with Utah, Takaido. I hope you win some money. All right, let's go back to Jacob's question. I brought up the Tua question again just for fun.
Yeah.
All right, no, I'm sorry. Finn Strom, should I trade Hurts and Ertz for Kelsey and Dak PPR with a whole bunch of alerts? I like that. Be smart. Get Anthony's attention there.
I think because of the way Kelsey is just above and beyond most of the tight ends, all the tight ends in this league, I would do this. I do like Hurts over Dak at quarterback, but you're going to have a much easier time probably. If this is a one quarterback league, you might be able to pick up somebody usable on the waiver wire if Dak gets hurt again or something, but you're not going to be able to replace Kelsey. There aren't too many tight ends that you can go toe to toe with if your opponent has Travis Kelsey. So I like this because of the Kelsey portion of it. That was long-winded.
It depends, but you're right. It depends on the scoring. So I am in certain leagues where that's heavy QBs. Like there's bonuses for 300 yards. There's 6 points for passing touchdowns. QB is paramount in that league. And then there's tight end premium leagues where either it's half point PPR for most people, 1 point for tight ends, or it's 1 point for most people and 1.5 for tight ends. That raises the value of tight ends. Unless it's a heavy QB league, I'm going to agree with Rich here. Kelsey, the value, the upgrade you get at tight ends for Kelsey and Ertz and almost all the other tight ends is worth it. Dak and Hurts is not a huge difference. Hurts is much more reliable, better floor, but Dak can put up some weeks. We saw what he did against the Bears a couple weeks ago. So I agree with the Pro Football Demon. Trade for Kelsey and Dak. Andrew Garza, DJ Moore or Juju Smith-Schuster?
I'm probably going DJ Moore because we know he is the number one in that offense, and because of the matchup. And Juju is just so hit or miss. So, I mean, not that DJ Moore isn't, but the matchup and the fact that he is the primary target in that offense. Although Terrence Marshall is coming on, man, and he's a phenomenal athlete. So I'm keeping my eye on Terrence Marshall. If you haven't picked him up on waivers, maybe grab him and stash him and see how he does. But I go DJ Moore here.
Yeah, it's not easy either way. I see your logic behind Moore. The Chiefs play the Jaguars this week, and I have a feeling, and they won last week, but they played a very tough Titans defense that forced the Chiefs to throw 68 times. They didn't put up a ton of points. They still got the W. I just have a feeling Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to come out and just, score like 40 points against the Jaguars this week. So Smith-Schuster should see the beneficiary. Whereas I think the Panthers-Falcons game tonight is going to be more run-heavy and lower scoring. So just for the sake of, we've agreed too much tonight, Rich. I'm going to go with Smith-Schuster just because we're aligning a little bit too much for my comfort.
Brian doesn't like to agree with me.
Well, no, normally we disagree, and it's nice.
Yeah.
It gives people different perspectives. So just for fun, I'll go Smith-Schuster there, but I can definitely see the logic on DJ Moore. Tad Newt, Geno Smith, or Jared Goff? Standard.
Tad, it's good to see you, man. Geno Smith or Goff, standard PPR. The Lions have the Bears this week.
Lions have the Bears, and the
Oh.
Seahawks play the Bucks in Germany.
Because I would probably go with Goff. Look, Geno Smith has been good, but he doesn't necessarily
It's a floor
look
versus ceiling. It's floor
good.
versus ceiling.
Yeah. I think Goff has a way higher ceiling.
Yeah, I like it mainly because of the matchups. Most weeks, I would probably go Geno because I like the floor. Geno is giving you like 2 touchdowns and 250 yards a game, like 20 yards rushing. I mean, he's got steady, consistent play where we've seen weeks where Goff will put up like less than 10 points because he's just, he golfs, right? He just has these games where he throws a bunch of turnovers, he fumbles, his offense doesn't put up. But hey, guess they're playing the Bears. The Bears have, especially without Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn, they have just been a doormat. The Cowboys did it, the Dolphins did it, and now the Lions, who their one real strength is their offense. And on the other side of it, the Bears are scoring a lot of points. This is a high-scoring game, so for that reason alone, the ceiling is much higher and the floor is not as scary against that Bears defense. So I'm gonna go Jared Goff over Geno this week. DJ, we already answered this one. David Morazzo. David, always nice to see you. Start CD or Debo at flex?
I'm starting CD Lamb. I know we talked a little bit about CD Lamb on Monday when we did our show, but CD Lamb for me is a guy. I mean, I think CD's floor is about 12 points. And he's a guy that could have multiple touchdowns. Not that Debo can't, but again, we have the Christian McCaffrey factor there. I think he's going to be the focal point. I'm going CD.
Yeah, the one question here is, so the Cowboys are playing the Packers, and yes, we've said all sorts of things about the Packers offense, but there is a bright spot on the Packers defense, and that's Jair Alexander. If he shades CeeDee Lamb has been vulnerable to top-tier cornerbacks shadowing him. I don't know if Alexander's going to shadow CD. I don't know if that's in their game plan. That worries me a little, but I'm still going to go CD. David, I talked about this on John's 49ers Rush podcast earlier. I think that San Francisco goes run heavy against the Chargers. That's where they're most vulnerable. I think the 49ers offense is set up well to control the clock. So there's a little bit less certainty in Debo's play for this game. So for that reason, I like the ceiling of CeeDee Lamb a little bit better. So I would put him in the flex.
Can I highlight one question real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Before you get to this one. It's a Kaido Luna question.
This is a real question.
You have to start Tua because the Jets are on a bye. Other than that, you'd be starting.
He just
Zach
wanted
Wilson.
you to say it. He wanted you. He's probably going to ask it next week too, when the Jets are not on a bye. Zach Wilson or Tua, and you're still going to have to say Tua. So,
I would never say that.
you would just refrain. Just what is it? Abstain from answering.
I'll have a
all right,
back.
Spaghetti Bread. I agree with Rich earlier. I love the name. Do you think I should start Devin Singletary or David Montgomery?
David Montgomery. For some reason, the Buffalo Bills cannot run the ball unless it's with Josh Allen. Montgomery has a beautiful matchup this week. I'm going Montgomery.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning Montgomery. I don't think it's as much of a slam dunk as you think, though, because if it is Case Keenum, we could see them trying to rely on the run game, or that we could see a lot more dump offs, where a lot more, where Singletary actually had 5 targets last week in the game where they were trailing to the Jets, or at least in a close game. Could we see that again? But Nyheim Hines has now got 2 weeks in. He might cut into that.
Cook is seeing more targets too.
Right. It's a safer
explosive.
play. It's a safer play to play Montgomery, especially with that matchup. It's not night and day, but I agree with Rich. I'm going to go Montgomery.
I think it's night and day. I've seen the Bills try to run the ball. They just can't do it. And without Josh Allen there, I think it's going to be even harder for them too.
David with another question, another defensive. We had a few defense questions tonight. I love it. Give us some kicker questions. Throw it out there. David Morazzo, start Eagles or Titans defense?
Titans are playing the Broncos.
Yes, correct. Titans play Broncos. Eagles play Commanders.
I might go with the Titans here. The Titans defense looked good against Kansas City. And the Denver
Broncos are not Kansas City.
Not even close. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with the Titans.
I actually really like the Titans as a play. If you're looking for a DFS, the Derrick Henry Titans defense stack is really appealing. It's probably something I'm going to put in multiple lineups this week. And as we said earlier, the Eagles defense is great, top 5 defense, But Heineke is frisky. I think, especially as a division game, Washington will put up some points, whereas I think the Titans defense, especially after what they did to Kansas City, will smother the Broncos offense. The Colts defense smothered the Broncos offense. Like, anybody can smother the Broncos offense. So I really like the Titans defense here. Taha Salah. I just want to pause there because I'm sure you want to know
Are we
his
related
last name.
to the great Robert Saleh? Uh-oh.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
That would be
We're going to
fantastic.
assume that you're his nephew or something, Tom.
Yes.
We're just going to assume that, and don't correct us. Aaron Jones or Dante Foreman?
So what is this injury situation with Aaron Jones?
So he is practicing in a limited fashion, which leads me to believe that he is going to play simply because the fact that he didn't miss any practice, even if it's limited, it was a low ankle sprain, which is not as bad as a high ankle sprain. I think his touches will be limited, though. I think that they start A.J. Dillon, even though he's not having a great season. I think when you got a guy like that who can be a starting running back, and you have another running back who's a little banged up, you're probably going to limit his touches more than you normally would. I think he'll see a fair amount. But because of that reason alone, I'm going to go ahead and answer, and feel free to agree or disagree. I just like this matchup for Foreman, and I'm unsure. What if Aaron Jones, there's a re-injury risk? Even if he is out there, there's a little more uncertainty there. Very rarely would I ever say this, but I think I'm leaning Foreman.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you because of the injury risk. If there wasn't an injury risk, I'm not high on the Packers defense, but it is still Aaron Jones, and he can catch the ball. And I wouldn't put it past Aaron Rodgers to target him 15 times in the passing game at some point if he doesn't trust anybody else and his receivers hate him. But yeah, because of the injury risk and because of the matchup, I would go Foreman.
JJ Games YR, Jacobs or Pierce at flex? Josh Jacobs or Damian Pierce?
Wow. Man.
So Vegas plays the Colts.
Yeah.
And Pierce, Texans play. I'm hearing an echo.
Giants. Texans played the Giants.
Giants. Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. Yeah. I mean, the Raiders could take an early lead in this game and then just rely on Josh Jacobs to control the clock.
Yeah, it's always Pierce is such a good play in general because he is the entire Texans offense and he's so reliable and he's fun to watch. I don't know if you watched that Thursday night game.
Yeah,
every time he gets the ball, he breaks one or two tackles. That's just a given. And I don't know. The Raiders keep burning me. I keep picking them in my game picks. They get out to huge leads and I'm like, I'm a genius. I knew that was going to happen. And then they blow the leads. But like I said, there's not many better matchups than getting the Colts this week. And all the turmoil they're going through, I can see this being, and Darren Waller, injured reserve. Hunter Renfrow, injured reserve. So you've basically got Mac Hollins, Devontae Adams, probably going to get 25 targets, and then Josh Jacobs. That is going to be the Raiders' offense. I think they'll get a lead, hold that lead, so I can see Jacobs getting a lot of touches. And if Josh McDaniels is smart, they'll go back to what was working early in the season. When Jacobs was getting 20-plus touches a game, they were dominating, and he looked fantastic. So you can't go wrong with Pierce. The Giants are susceptible to the run for sure. They're better in the pass defense, but I would go Jacobs here as well. Takeda, will Aaron get sat for Love at any point this season? This is an Aaron Rodgers sat for Jordan Love question, Rich.
And this is a good question. I think it's a possibility. If they are out of contention, what is the point of starting Aaron Rodgers? I mean, maybe they can frame it in a way to Aaron where it's like, hey, we don't want you to get hit anymore. You're going to be here next year if you want to be here. Maybe we can see if this guy does something and get something for him in a trade or I think they'd have to exercise his 5th-year option this year, though. I believe. I'm not. I might be a little off on that, but
this is Love's third season. They don't have to exercise.
Okay. All right, yeah. So then maybe you can, at that point, you can frame it that way to Aaron and see what he says, and you get paid to sit down for a little bit. You don't have to worry about it, and maybe if this guy can play, we can get something for him from a quarterback-hungry team, and that could help us move the needle a little bit next year.
The Packers have a very tough schedule coming up.
Yeah,
they're sitting at 3-6. They're basically already out of the NFC North. There's if you look at PFF has a power rankings where they actually break down playoff probabilities, division win probabilities. The Vikings lead the entire NFL with a 97% chance that they'll win the NFC North. So the chances of the Packers making the playoffs at this point are actually very slim. It's a huge uphill battle. That being said, the Packers are going to want to see what they can get with Love. They're going to want to give, there's no advantage to playing Aaron Rodgers at the end of the year if you're already eliminated from playoff competition. So yes, I do think he gets sat, not when they're in contention. It doesn't matter how bad Rodgers is playing. They're not going to put Jordan Love in there if they still have a chance to make the playoffs. But once they get eliminated, yes, I think Jordan Love will get in there. Ryan Miresi, all caps, Connor or Williams. Is that Damian Williams? Who's the Williams there? James Conner or what? I'm assuming it's Damian Williams, also the Cardinals. I don't know. Ryan, let us know. Who's Williams?
Yeah, let us know. If it's Connor or Williams, I'm just going to say Connor. Yeah.
Anthony, if you see Ryan in the chat again, then
Jamal Williams maybe?
Oh, there. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Let's assume it's Jamal Williams. So James Conner or Jamal Williams?
Jamal Williams. Definitely going Jamal Williams. Somebody sneaking up on you there?
My son. Give some context behind that. I'll be right back.
Yes. Jamal Williams, I don't trust DeAndre Swift to finish up a game. And when we've seen Jamal Williams play, he's always a threat to put up some significant fantasy points. So I also don't trust James Conner to stay healthy.
Yeah,
there's my context.
Slam dunk. Now that we know it's Jamal Williams, thank you, Ryan. Yeah. Connor is. They're still going to get Eno Benjamin some touches there. And now I know there's DeAndre Swift, but Jamal Williams is the lead back there, and he's been very good. Serena Williams. I don't know. James Conner's not having a great year. I might start Serena Williams over James Conner. All right, so we've got about just under 13 minutes left. I still see nearly 40 questions in the chat, so let's go
as quickly as we can.
Let's see if we can rapid fire. Jade Dragon 91, does Alvin Kamara get suspended this year or next? Do you want me to take this one?
Yeah, I think next year. These things usually take a little time.
The next process in the court process, whatever, it got moved to early 2023. And the NFL's not going to do anything until there's some sort of movement on the legal side. So I do think it's going to be 2023. I think he plays the rest of the season. Ryan with another question, Juju or Sutton? Ryan likes the all caps.
I'm going mostly anybody over Sutton. So.
Yeah. Agreed. Juju is the answer there. Nathan Plaisance, Herbert or Drake London at flex? We answered this one earlier, correct? I
don't know if we answered this one. I'm going to go Herbert, though.
I think we did. We're both gonna go Herbert again. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's the second time. Spaghetti bread, definitely Juju over Sutton.
Yeah,
we're all in agreement there. Singletary or Montgomery, we answered this one earlier as well. Albert Moore, should I trade Kenneth Walker for Chris Olave?
Oh, Albert, I would need to take a look at your roster to make that move. But
that's 100% a roster question. We need to see. I mean, because. Are you stacked at running back? Can you afford to trade Kenneth Walker? There's wide receivers a lot deeper than running backs, so it's rare that I would want to trade such a stud running back, even as good as Olave has been, unless the scoring is like crazy, generous to wide receivers. Sober Thoughts, nice name. Would y'all trade Jerry Jeudy for Goddard? That's it. Jerry Jeudy for Goddard. PPR Dynasty tight end premium. I don't have a top 15 tight end. My team is a rebuild. Though there isn't any good tight ends in next year's draft, or his thought.
In Dynasty, I think I would hold on to Jeudy. He's still young.
Russell Wilson's still going to be there next year.
Yeah.
But, he's not going anywhere. No, I mean that as a negative against
you mean
Jeudy.
As a negative, but I don't know that the issue is Russell. Well, wait a minute. According to what Pete Carroll said this week too about the wristband and everything, he made it seem like Russell Wilson was holding back Seattle's offense. So Russell Wilson might be a problem, but I like Jerry Jeudy as a receiver. I can't believe Russell Wilson is just going to be bad from here on out for the rest of his career. I refuse to believe that. I think this is more of a coaching thing. So I don't know that I would give up a receiver like Jerry Jeudy for Goddard.
Sober, let us know what other wide receivers you still have on your team.
Yeah.
I will say this. It has been much easier to find wide receivers that are productive right away than there are tight ends.
That's true.
So another decent, from what I'm seeing, another decent wide receiver rookie class coming out. So you might I kind of leaning towards Goddard, but let us know, Sober, who the other wide receivers are on your fantasy dynasty team. Ryan Moresi will not give up on the all caps. Thoughts on Cole Kmet?
I think we're seeing Cole Kmet come into his own because this offense is starting to come alive. It was never a question of talent. It was a question of, is he in the right situation? And it looks like he could now be in the right situation.
Yeah, correct. I was really high on him to start the season. This Bears offense just seemed stuck in the mud. They are not anymore. They are high flying, and we've seen Kmet and Mooney come up as a result, and not to mention Justin Fields. I don't think that's going away. I think we're going to see this high-producing offense for the rest of the year, especially because their defense is so bad now. So, yes, Kmet's probably a top 5 tight end to me right now, or at least top 7, which top 7 in tight end world, that's huge.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Taylor and Amon-Ra for Fournette and hey, Ryan got rid of the all caps. Taylor and Amon-Ra for Fournette and Justin Jefferson. Who wins the trade?
Who wins the trade? Oh, man. Because of what Taylor has been going through and Amon-Ra's injury situation, I'm going to say the Justin Jefferson side because that is the only sure thing in this deal, and that is a hell of a sure thing.
I'm just going to echo that. The only sure thing in this deal is the Justin Jefferson part. If you can get him, I would go forward with that. Mr. Squishy79. Yay. Kicker question. Ryan Suckup or Tyler Bass?
God, I don't care. Ryan Suckup.
Well, it's not about the kicker. So unless you're Justin Tucker, when you're playing kickers, it's 100% about the matchup. I think the chance of the Vikings-Bills game being high scoring, pretty good. High scoring means more kicking opportunities. Suckup kicks for the Bucks, so you've got. I think that Seahawks-Bucks game is going to be lower scoring. The Bucks have only scored more than 22 points one time all season, and that was when they were trying to play catch up to the Chiefs. So for that reason alone, I'm going Tyler Bass. David Morazzo, start Josh Allen or Justin Fields?
You know, even with a healthy Josh Allen this week, if I had the opportunity to start Justin Fields against Detroit, I think I might, because you could be looking at a 50-plus point week with his rushing ability. I mean, he ran for 170 some odd yards last week. I mean, could we against Detroit? I mean, he might run for 300.
I'm going to quickly say before I answer this, shout out to Anthony behind the scenes in our private chat. He points out that Suckup has made the most field goals right now. That's actually a point I didn't consider because I'm trying to go on rapid fire here. The Bucks offense has moved the ball okay. It's getting in the end zone that's been bad, and that has resulted in a lot of field goals for Suckup. So I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go Suckup. Let's go Suckup there. Forget Tyler Bass. Thank you, Anthony. See, Anthony, we give him credit.
You always got. I never get on Anthony.
Yeah,
I just bust his chops about
David.
Lions.
I'm gonna go Fields. I just think that rushing upside. Once again, going to be playing from behind because I think this is going to be a high-scoring matchup with the Lions. And Fields is their rushing offense right now, on top of the fact that he's actually playing pretty efficiently as a passer. All right, just over 6 minutes left. Trey Nickens, Pittman, Dynasty, 11-man league, trade or keep. Wide receiver core, he's got Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks, Pittman, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk. Should he keep or trade Pittman in this Dynasty?
I'm keeping Pittman there because of the state of your
11-man? Are you missing a team?
I think he means, is that 11 starters maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Hope it's not 11 teams.
I'm keeping Pittman in this situation because Brandon Cooks and Keenan Allen are getting a little older. Pittman is your youngest high upside receiver. So I would keep Pittman in Dynasty.
Because it's Dynasty, I'm going to agree with that. I think the Colts are going to be in a position to get a better quarterback, so that should up Pittman's value. He's still so young, whereas Keenan Allen is just continuing. He's older, but he's also injury-prone. Brandon Cooks, now past age 30, his future TBD. Yeah, I'm going to agree. Keep Pittman. Jay Araya, Pitts or Higbee this week?
I'm finally going to say, man.
I know. My instinct is the same. I'm like, Pitts, but...
Yeah, you know what?
I'll give you this data. His best week of the year was against the Panthers 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
19 PPR points.
I'm going to go Pitts.
Let's go Pitts.
Yeah.
Let's roll Pitts. Playing the Panthers.
Again, he saw 7 targets. He saw 7 targets. He
Good
comes down with
volume,
a
but it
couple
could
of
be
them,
John Wolford. We don't know how much Wolford's going to throw to Higbee. There's that uncertainty. Let's go Pitts for fun. He can't screw us every week, right, guys? Andrew Garza, DJ Moore, or Juju Smith-Schuster. I feel like did we answer this one?
I think we answered that. I said DJ Moore.
Yes.
Juju.
Sure. Sure. Let's go with that. Let's keep it rolling, guys. Trying to get as many as we can. Higbee or Pitts. We just answered that, but a different person. So McClan2215, give you your personal shout out for asking the question. Thank you. Pitts or Goddard? No,
I'm
we
going
haven't done
Goddard.
this
No.
one. JJ Games. Yeah.
This is Goddard. Yeah.
This is Goddard. Yeah. Agreed. Jacobs or Pierce is the next question. We already answered that one. Where is Josh Palmer ranked this week? I think because we don't have individual rankings, let's talk about what kind of game we think Josh Palmer can have. We'll start with that. So Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both still not practicing.
I think
playing the 49ers.
We could see Josh Palmer go 6 for 70, maybe a touchdown. So
there's not a lot of other people to throw.
Yeah.
I think the 49ers will be leading this game. So I do think the 49ers are beat up in the secondary. Not that he's been starting, but they just lost Jason Verrett for the season. They lost Emmanuel Mosley for the season earlier. I think the Chargers are going to need to pass the ball, so I think he's a pretty good play. Can't give you a ranking if you give us another guy to compare him to, but I do think he's a pretty solid play. Just went over 100 yards last week. Thank you, Kyle, for your question. Avery, I'm going to say Boucher, even though it's probably not sounds. Avery Boucher. I'm deciding between Jonathan Taylor and Mike Evans for flex.
Oh, man. Again, that Colts offense, we don't know what to expect. And the fact that defenses can just hone in on Jonathan Taylor and try to eliminate him from the game and force them to pass. For that reason, I think I'm going to go Mike Evans. Brady's still got something to prove. And Mike Evans is a hell of a receiver. They haven't been able to do much lately in the passing game, but I think Mike Evans has the higher upside here.
Yeah, same thing. We've said it a few times that the Colts are toxic until proven otherwise right now. Yeah. So I would also go with Evans. Brady Zabludil. What's up, fellas? What's up, Brady? Have Danny Dimes, Mariota, and Keenum. Who do I start? Also, I have Jamal Williams and Swift. Yeah. So I bench either of them for most or Drake. All right, let's start with the quarterback question, then we'll go to the running back question. Daniel Jones, Marcus Mariota, or Case Keenum this week? Surprisingly,
I'm going to go Daniel Jones here. Daniel Jones has some pretty interesting rushing upside. And I like that offense better than the other ones without Case Keenum. Jamal Williams.
I agree. Just answer that, and then we'll go to the running question. I agree. Go Daniel Jones. The rushing upside, surprisingly, that's been what's kept him fantasy relevant. And they're going up against the Texans. So, yeah, I like Daniel Jones of those three. All right, so question for the running back, Jamal Williams and Swift. Do I bench either of them for Raheem Mostert, Drake London, or Paris Campbell? We talked about the Colts. Eliminate Campbell.
Surprisingly, I wouldn't bench either of them for that slate of players.
Yeah, against that Bears defense, I think it's going to be one of the higher scoring games this week. I keep saying that every week for the Bears or the Lions. So yeah, play both of them. Maybe Mostert, because even though I think Jeff Wilson will get the lead back, but I do think Mostert will have opportunities against the Browns, who are really bad against the run. But I still think Jamal Williams and Swift are the better plays. Kyle Renard again, play DJ Moore tonight, even with the rain in North Carolina. Another reason why I'm big on the run game, by the way.
Yeah, it depends on who you'd have to sub for him. It's tough to say, but yes or no.
All right, just a minute left. We're going to go through these rapid fire. Evan Olsen, Zeke or Foreman? Zeke is limited, so yeah, go Foreman. Should I start Zach? Well, we already did that. Takeda, Harry Jenkins, Super Bowl predicts. Go. I'm still predicting the Bills.
The Bills, okay. San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, look at that. Nice. Spaghetti Bread, should I start Singletary or Montgomery? I think we did that one. Yeah. Jacobs or Pierce, Pitts or Goddard, did that one. Alvin Kamara gets suspended, that one. You guys just determined to get your questions answered. Oh, here's a good new one. Meatball, another name that I love. Yeah. Donovan Peoples-Jones or Terrace Marshall? I'm
very high on Donovan Peoples-Jones this week, so I'm going to say DPJ.
They're going to be playing from behind against the Dolphins. Dolphins have been pretty bad against receivers. So their secondary's been beat up. So yeah, I agree with that. Go Donovan Peoples-Jones. Zeke or Foreman, already answered that. Jeff, 1, 2, 3, 4. Aaron Jones or Foreman, answered that one. It's Bernsky, Tony Pollard or Aaron Jones or Jeff Wilson?
I'm going to go Tony Pollard.
Yeah, Tony Pollard. When he's the lead back, he does great things.
Pollard
Pollard again.
Pollard
Clamped
or DJ
EZ,
Moore.
thank you for the question. Evan Olsen got that question in like 4 times. Got this one. Foreman or Jeff Wilson.
Foreman.
All right, we're going to finish these rapid fire ones. I only got a few left. Lockett or Metcalf? Who would you take?
Metcalf.
Yeah, Metcalf, higher ceiling. Did that one. Foreman or Pollard? I am Monk.
Pollard.
Pollard's a great play, by the way,
Yeah.
especially if Zeke is limited, or definitely if he's out. Pitts or Gerald Everett? PPR.
Gerald Everett because of the receiver situation.
No one else to throw to in LA. Reese Haight, do you think D Swift will be fully back by playoffs? Yes, I think as far as health wise, he's got 1 or 2 more weeks. I've followed some people who broke down his injury. As far as health wise, he'll be back by the playoffs. Now, Jamal Williams is probably still going to cut into a lot of those touches. Which 2 running backs should I start? Patterson, Foreman, and Pollard?
Patterson and Pollard.
Yep, agreed. Brady's a blue. That was EJ Lara, by the way. Trying to make sure I say these names. Have Swift and Jamal Williams. Do I bench? Oh, we already asked that. Got a few more questions. We got 4 more questions. Should I start Foreman or Montgomery? Full PPR.
Montgomery.
Cameron Catalani. Yeah, I'll go Montgomery against the Lions. Frozit, should I trade Jamar Chase for Swift and Godwin at 4-5?
I'm not trading Jamar Chase.
Yeah, no, keep Jamar Chase, especially if you're going to be a playoff team. You'll thank us when you get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which 2 running backs should I start? Patterson, Foreman, and Pollard? Already answered that one. And Tua or Fields from Eric Rojas.
Ooh, this is a good one. Man, Fields because of the matchup.
Yeah, I would go Fields. I don't think the Dolphins are going to put up as many points against the Browns as they have the past couple weeks. As much as I love my guy Tua, I'm going to go Justin Fields. All right, it is 8:07 Eastern, 5:07 here on the West Coast. The Thursday Night Football game is starting soon. Any last words before we sign off?
No, thank you to everybody who jumped in. We're doing this every Thursday, so get in early. As soon as Brian puts up that link, just keep an eye out for it. Do you announce that you put the link up anywhere so that they?
No,
can
but I
keep an eye out
can.
for it?
Maybe I can. I'm going to start putting up stories on TikTok. I'll have ways to announce it. But yeah, follow Legit Football on TikTok if you're not already. Follow Pro Football Demon on TikTok and everywhere. Subscribe to 30 Minutes of Football. Subscribe to Pro Football Demon and sign up for the Legit Football newsletter. Guys, enjoy the game tonight. Follow tomorrow, Friday. We'll have our Game Picks episode. We'll see you next
Who's
Thursday.
your pick tonight?
Oh, yeah. Duh. All right, Thursday Night Football. I've got Atlanta winning. The Carolina played their best game of the season and still lost to Atlanta 2 weeks ago, so I'm thinking the Falcons are going to control this game and win.
Me too.
There we go. There you have it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate all the questions in the chat. This has been 30 Minutes of Football with Legit Football. That's spicy. Jimmy Garoppolo on there could be a benefit, but have they kind of burned that bridge?
We'll say this. Gardner Minshew is the best backup in the NFL.
I love Gardner.